There you see Ducanaltum, that white structure right there in Magdala. And we're south of there. Migdal, all our friends in Migdal who come and go. And there's Mount Hermon, standing proudly there in the north, bridging Syria, Lebanon, and Israel. And the center of the screen you have the Mount of Beatitudes. This is a very clear view this morning. And then Capernaum, down at the water. And then the Jordan comes in over there. And then down you have two sites claiming to be Bethsaida. One is a little higher there to this left of center, and the other one is on the closer to the edge of the water, which is being currently excavated. Maybe I'll take you there one morning, God willing. And here comes sunrise over the Sea of Galilee. And actually we talked about Lebanon and Syria a moment ago, and now you can see Jordan, which is beyond Tiberias. All that plateau there at the deep end there, that's Jordan. There's a valley between that, I don't know if you can make it out, and the end of the Golan Heights. And that separates Jordan and eventually Syria also. So here we have proximity like seldom before, with these cliffs right here in front of us. The southern cliffs of Mount Arbel. And here we are up on the side of Arbel, ready for a nice stroll and chat. And I say thank you so much for joining us. And we can see here the dried up grasses and plants waiting for the winter rains to come back to life. And it's great so many people are joining the pilgrimage of healing and hope. Some people have very turbulent waters, and may there be a grace for them. And others look calm, but there's a lot of turbulence down below. And everybody, we all need healing and hope. Or we can all help others also who are hurting much more than we are. So we're going to walk here a little further south along this. It's kind of a pathway. It's very rough ground, so you kind of watch where you're going. And now the sun is completely over the Golan edge. Let me see if we can get a better picture for you here. A little zoom in. A lot of birds flying there as well. So we continue our little stroll here, and today we're with a very complaining Jonah, the prophet Jonah. We're wrapping up Jonah's story today, the third day. It's a short little book, you know. A lot of folks haven't read the Bible. And I say, well, read Ruth or read Jonah, takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and now you can say I read a whole book of the Bible. And he was complaining very bitterly, and God gave him a present of a plant. It's called a gourd plant, and I don't know what that is. Yesterday evening I was walking on the periphery of Old Magdala with an archaeologist, famous archaeologist Moti Aviam, doing a little scouting, a little, what's the word? There's a special word for this. Just surveying the landscape. And we found a bunch of old burial spots. But there was a plant where the piece got burnt. I must show it to you one day. And it's called Tapuk Stom, Sodom's apple. And it has grown very big. It's actually poisonous, and it's also hollow on the inside apparently. You learn something new every day. But that grew very quickly after the fire. It was already a foot high 3 weeks later. I think I showed it to you one morning there 2 months ago. And now it's very tall. It's almost as tall as me. And it has grown very quickly. And Moti Aviam was very surprised by its presence. He said it belongs down near the Dead Sea area. And obviously it wasn't so visible before because of all the vegetation there. And so that plant grew very quickly. Well, there's this gourd plant, I don't know what it was like, what it was. And it grew up and it gave shade to Jonah. And he was thrilled about it because it was nice and cool under the blistering sun. And he'd been so angry. He was so angry he wanted to die. What a wounded soul. To be so angry you want to die. See, when you're walking along here, you don't have to just watch for the stones. You also have little presents that the cows have left on their path. And then the next day the plant was gone. And now he was complaining again. So the big lesson of the parable was, hey buddy, why are you so sad about the plant being gone? It only appeared yesterday and it's gone today. And you're so worked up about it. Why wouldn't you let me save an entire city of 120,000 inhabitants? A huge city in the mentality of antiquity. And the revelation of God's mercy, that God loves all people. And if Jonah had been thinking and put on his thinking cap, as my dad would say, then he'd have recalled his people's history to become a light to the nations, not a condemnation to the nations, not a destruction of the nations, a light to the nations in all the complexities and difficulties of relationships. And maybe we're touching a button there in our own hearts and families, because each of us could be a light in our family. Or we could become condemnation, darkness, sadness, frustration, resignation, giving up, no hope, nothing to do here. And we could even look at the society around us and be very negative and pessimistic, fed up. That's the kind of a word that's used a lot, isn't it? I'm fed up. Sad word. Really sad word. I'm fed up. And we could have a different attitude. Maybe then we need healing. If we're some of those Christians and believers who are fed up, who are sad and complaining and bitter about society, maybe we can have a change of heart. And we don't have to condone what's wrong in society, but we can have a very different attitude of redemptive love, of a will to recover, to redeem, to build up. And it's not just Christians, it's everybody. because just as a good human being in the neighborhood, in the family, with other people, we can always be a positive element. Yesterday, in a conversation in the evening, there were some folks who had been on a tour earlier in the day, or the day before, a tour of the site of Magdalene with me. And this lady was very nice and very helpful, teaching me some new words in Hebrew, correcting my poorly pronounced Hebrew, and so forth. And then we had a chat because we just came out of the chapel and there they were. So I sat down with them for a little bit and we chatted. And then this lady said to me, well, I'm actually an atheist. And I said, oh, how wonderful, you're a lovely atheist. You're a very nice atheist. As you were helping me a lot today in the explanation and in the helping me with my Hebrew. So everybody can be a positive element. And we can all build on where we are. And we all have a lot to build, a lot to grow. And this is a big lesson from Jonah. It's actually an amazing book when you think of it, that it's there at least 3 or 4 centuries before Jesus, and maybe there's an oral tradition long before that. So we could go up this path here, but this is very rocky, along here. So what I'm actually thinking of doing is going down around this path. This is a bigger version of the caper plant, I think. And there we have a bee looking for a flower in vain. Or maybe it's not a caper plant. It's a different, well, I'm not sure. Yeah, actually could be, it could be actually one of these buckthorns. I thought in the distance, yes, it is a buckthorn. You can see one of the fruits here, so it's not a caper. Where's that fruit gone? There we are. There, it's touching it right there. Good. So we have seen big tree versions. Actually, that's another tree version of it right there. Look at the birds on the wire here. Perched. And all the electricity going through there, and it doesn't do anything to them. We're actually on a path. Look at this. And then we turn over the page and we're reading the Our Father. Forgive us as we forgive others. And so that's very much in the same spirit of Jonah. Hey, look at these flowers, people. You see how the flowers are moving up the stem? We saw this a week ago, I think. And then the flowers move up along the stem and they're blooming upwards. And they're about up to 250 little flowers on each one. Look at all of them down here. You can see them in the sunlight. Isn't that beautiful? The bounty. And these are the flowers at the beginning of fall here in this region, showing us a new period of time. Different plants mark different seasons. And we're on the wrong side of the light here. Let me get on the other side. Well, there's one down here we get on the other side, and I won't have to go down the slope there. You see here we have these ones. This is migrated. You see the blooming started down here, and it migrated all the way up here. So it's almost at the top here on this particular one. And here you can see the flowers close up. And then you can see how small they are. That's my finger. So it's quite zoomed in. And these ones still have to bloom. This one is also actually near the very top. And this one seems to be already at the top. So you can see the three of them here together. So God's kingdom is different than our kingdom. And we need God's kingdom for our healing. Thy kingdom come. Kingdom of forgiveness, of mercy, tender in mercy. And it's amazing how much healing comes when we ourselves practice mercy. And that's why it's not off the mark at all when we say, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. It goes hand in hand. The inner logic of our faith is amazing. Of our worldview. It's precious. It just works together wonderfully. So people, I think we're here again. We were here the other day at this particular point. We had started someplace else. And I think we just say goodbye here. It's great that you were able to join us for this beautiful sunrise at the Sea of Galilee. Look at that. Beautiful, placid Sea of Galilee. There we go. Hello there. See you later, alligators. God bless you today.